to the homestead. Today I'm going to take you around our gardens and just do a quick little late spring garden tour with y'all. So we're going to go actually kind of backwards. Normally I started our kitchen garden, which was our oldest garden area that we started 7 years ago. But today we're going to go backwards. We're going to start with our our newest garden space. The place that we're standing in right now is our future main crop area, and we have one little row of garden beds that we just put in here, and that was because we had too many sweet potato slips. So I just kind of decided to go ahead and put this in, even though we weren't quite ready for this space to be planted yet. So there's Murasaki sweet potatoes planted here, as well as some short stuffed sunflowers in these new garden beds. And all of the rest of this that we covered with vinyl is right now just a dream on paper. It's what we're going to be calling our main crop area, and so we've got the plan ready. We're just not quite ready to implement it yet because it's going to require quite a bit of just infrastructure in the beginning, cement path walkways. We're going to be putting in a big composting system and things like that.
Raised beds.
Yep, raised beds. So we're just little by little prepping this area, and hopefully someday soon we'll be getting it going as well.
Come on, Daddy.
Okay.
So now we're in our front garden space, and it's eventually going to be called the barnyard garden because a barn is going to be going right over there. And we've tried to make this as low maintenance as possible in this space. So we have a couple raised beds on the front edges, and then most of the rest has been covered with landscape fabric. And this is where we're going to be growing our melons. So I've got two different types of melons that are getting ready to go in the ground here. We've got a double arch trellis over this way that we grow a lot of pole beans. So I've got just little baby pole beans started over there. And then continuing over here, we've got our first round of short stuffed sunflowers, and then a couple butternut squash started. We've got some beds where we're going to be planting some peppers on the two front corners. The front beds are going to be mostly sweet potatoes. We still have a lot of our early spring crops in them, some lettuce and carrots and spinach and things, so those will be cleared out, and that'll leave room for the sweet potatoes to just go crazy in those front beds. And then in the back we have some orchard baby sweet corn, just a little patch of that, and then I'm also going to be planting some more winter squash over there as well. So the thing I'm most excited though about in this front garden is over by the gate, so let's go check it out.
What's this?
This is a hollyhock, and I love hollyhocks, but I learned fairly early on that here in Missouri, hollyhocks, just your normal hollyhocks that you would get from seed, most of them succumb to rust, and it's got a little bit right here. It's this, you can see little patches here that will actually take over the entire plant, this whole plant. Just regular hollyhock varieties, the whole plant can be just destroyed by rust. I had that a couple of years ago, beautiful hollyhock, but the whole plant was just covered in rust. Even the blooms just didn't look right. So last year I started this variety from seed, and it's a fig leaf variety. You can see the leaves are different than most hollyhocks. So there's this variety as well as a couple other varieties of hollyhocks are very resistant to rust. So this one's going to be pink, a pretty pink color, and I've also got some white ones in our kitchen garden. So I'm excited to have hollyhocks finally that aren't going to be overtaken by the rust. Okay, so just time frame, this garden space is about 2 years old. So now we'll go to the kitchen garden, and it's the original garden that we first put in when we moved onto the homestead. Alright, so here we are. This is actually another new space for us because we just finished getting all the cement around our root cellar here. So we've got some flowers and some peas growing. I'm eventually going to be putting in one of our favorites, Mexican sour gherkins, and those are going to climb this trellis here. So going in order of time, I would say next would be this whole area along our root cellar. It's only a couple years old. So we'll just start on one side and walk down, and then we'll kind of circle around to the area that's the oldest, and that would be amongst our apple trees. Alright, so this is one of our annual beds, and it's got a combination of different cabbages in it. Golden acre cabbage, red express cabbage, and then I plugged in some Georgia Southern collards because they needed a spot, and Chinese cabbage at the end. Okay, and then the next area is kind of a interesting little space where we're going to hopefully have a little spot to sit here in the center. And we've been working on putting in cement rock pathways in this whole area. So we just framed up today the next pathway area that's going to go in. And most of what's planted here is perennial herbs and flowers, of course. So a lot of it is very, very small. I started a lot from seed this year. So there's lots of little teeny tiny plants that you won't be able to see on film. And that's one thing about perennials. When you start them from seed, you often don't get to see the flower for a year or two, sometimes 3. So it takes patience. But there are a lot of little teeny baby perennial flowers and herbs in here. And then we have a couple more established ones that were started last year, and I think even the year before. This is a powwow wildberry echinacea that's just starting to bloom. This is going to be a yarrow, a white yarrow called, I think it's called Angel's Breath. Our favorite tea herb, anise hyssop. Got some ground covers. This is a parsley that's going to seed. And burgundy gloajuga, our favorite ground cover. This is just about to open. This is a rudbeckia called Prairie Sun that I just love. It's a real pale yellow. All right, next we have another annual bed, and this is our tomato bed. So I just yesterday planted a couple varieties of tomato in here, and then we have calendula and basil. I'm also going to plug in some peppers. And then next down the line is kind of a whole space that I've been calling our circle garden, because it's a lot of just kind of circular beds that have a lot of perennial plants, flowers, herbs. We have some, well, I'll show you. Let's go check it out. First up is chocolate mint, and we have a Pixwell gooseberry here. And then this is a tree we planted in honor of Kip's mom when she passed, and it is a flying dragon citrus. It's a cold hardy citrus, and I just love the way it looks like
Kind of reminds me of a bonsai tree.
Yeah, I love just the natural shape it's taking. It's fun. All right, so then we have a perennial bed over here that has in the very center a cold hardy hibiscus that's just coming up. This is what happens here to the hollyhocks when they are not rust resistant. So this is a burgundy tower, just one of your common hollyhocks, and I'll probably just have to take these all out because this will just take over the whole plant. So sad, but I'll probably have to take them out before they flower. This is just a miscellaneous bed here because we've got a lot of construction work that's still going on over between this area and the house. So I just plugged in lots of flowers and random things. Plants that I want to give away are sitting in this bed as well. Some mint and garlic chives that need a new home. Back here we have a rose of Sharon as the center, and then all around that we have spring bulbs that come up in the spring and a whole bunch of different perennial herbs and flowers. Still working on filling up this space. There's echinacea, aster, mist flower. This is going to be goldenrod here. Just a lot going on in this bed. I try to make the perennial beds really, really full. That way I don't have to weed as much, because then the plants help suppress the weeds. Makes it nicer. All right, here's the one I'm most excited about. I was able to get some perennial flowers as plants. So not from seed, but as little plants. Some of them were bare root that I planted early, and they were gifted. The children, actually, I gave the money to buy these plants. So this is a fun little bed that's got some white bleeding hearts in it, some hostas. I've never grown hostas before. There's some salvia. My first geranium, I've never had those either. So there's a Johnson's blue geranium, and what else? A perennial flax. Oh, and then Kip, he got me the beautiful dianthus, the very bright pink dianthus. He got those for me at Walmart as a gift. So this is one of my favorite little spots. It's new. The plants are just first year, but at least there's some color on them, and I look forward to when they next year are even bigger and more vibrant.
Maya.
Yeah. Do you know what that is?
The boy.
It's a geranium, and this one's Johnson's blue geranium. Isn't that pretty?
I like
So pretty. Do you like the color?
Yep, this will fill in no time.
Yeah, so pretty. Alright, so then I also have rhubarb that I transplanted this year, so it's kind of struggling. But it had too much sun where I had it last year, so it's a little bit more of a shady spot. Hopefully it'll recover well and like this spot. And there's just a few Arctic Fire Dianthus plants that I put around it. And then on the edge of the circle garden beds, we have some raspberries and high bush cranberries and currants. And then on the other side of the bed with strawberries and asparagus growing as well. And then various trees that provide shade in this area, which is really nice. A redbud tree, a persimmon tree.
Hi, Mrs. Turkey. Turkeys often just lay down when we go in there. It's funny.
They're very peaceful.
Yeah, they're very docile and mellow. And they make kind of a happy little noise.
They do.
Don't they make a happy
Yeah,
noise?
they make a sweet little noise. Uh-huh. Watch out, there are some flowers. Yep, there you go, you avoided them. Good. Okay, so then we have a little horseshoe bed here that's got some honeyberries and a ground cover of strawberries. And this is still pretty new. The honeyberries went in last year, so this year they're just putting on a lot of new growth. And I don't think we're going to get berries from them, but that's okay. They're establishing, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You think we're going to get some berries?
I don't think we'll get many honeyberries.
No.
We'll get strawberries out of here, though.
Yeah, ooh, look at this one.
Found you a strawberry?
Oh, it's almost ready. It's so close. Let me see if this one is. Yes, look at that.
Oh, wow, that's a beauty.
Isn't that pretty? You gonna eat that one?
Show how big it is, Biddle. As big as your hand.
Uh-huh. Okay, so next we have a bunch of strawberry beds, and we decided last fall to kind of redo the whole thing and put them into raised beds that are confined by cedar boards, and that's because we get really heavy rains in the spring here that just they keep washing out our soil in the garden. So for now, until we can get our permanent pathways in that will help hold that soil, we're just putting the wood around to hold. What are you smiling at? What did I say?
I'm smiling at you. Hoping you'd smile.
Okay. So the boys built these raised strawberry beds, and we planted garlic in the center of each one, and we're already getting a lot of strawberries off of them, so that's been really fun. Along the backside here of the chicken yard, well, what used to be the chicken yard, now it's the turkey yard. We have another cold hardy hibiscus here that I look forward to seeing. It's a pink variety, I think, called Brandy Punch. And we have a huge
onions.
mess. I know, they look so messy right now. The huge mess of onions is an Egyptian walking onion, and I'm really kind of new at them. I'm not sure how to keep them in order, so for now they're just everywhere, and they're quite interesting. They add a little bit of character to our garden.